I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and welcome to episode 2 in our series Rehabbing This Rental Property in Bullhead City, Arizona. Now in this episode we are going to work on patching portions of the roof where the wind has damaged them and peeled pieces away, or there's old satellite dishes and other things that need to be removed, and then patch that area. So let's get started.
If you break it, he will fix it. If you buy it, he will build it. House on the Mend.
So, what you don't hear today is the wind, because for the first time in a couple weeks, it is almost dead calm. The first time I tried to show you a tour of the roof and film it, it was so windy, it sounded like this. It was just unusable. So let's head up here, and I want to give you a first-person point of view of exactly the areas of the roof that we are going to work on in this episode. All right. So the first thing I want to show you is this satellite dish, which needs to be removed. You can see the cable is already taken off of it. It's just sitting here inviting a leak. And then right over here we have this really tall old, like ultra high frequency style antenna. We're going to take that down as well. And if we come over here towards the HVAC unit, you'll see the first spot right by my big head is all these missing shingles that have been blown off by the wind. And right over the ridge, you can see another one here. And this one is blown up and creased and broken because of the wind as well, and there's a layer above it that's gone. As we pan to the right here, that whole gray area up by the ridge cap is a whole row of shingles that have also blown away, so those need to be fixed. Turning around, heading towards the front of the house, you can see right here on this corner there is a bunch of shingles that have literally torn off in the wind. And I think what's happening here is this is an overlay of an existing roof. So these shingles on the bottom, they tend to have like a sticky tar, and once you install a shingled roof, when the sun hits it and warms them up, it activates like this adhesive underneath that sticks to the tar paper that you've put down. And if the tar paper is adequately stapled to the plywood that's underneath it, then everything remains stable. So in this case, you have an overlay. So these shingles were applied on top of an existing roof, which is fine. It's done a lot in roofing. You can have one overlay on top by code in most places, and you're good to go. Well, anyway, the adhesive doesn't activate on this aggregate here, so they're just blowing off. So instead of coming in and trying to nail things down, which I found in a few points where people have actually put nails in that are exposed to try to hold down the roof, we're going to need to take those off. And I have some roofing adhesive that I'll show you that we're going to use to try to hold everything down where so we don't have any exposed nails. Oh. These flats of shingles are deceptively heavy. I'm not sure how many come in here, but it says it covers 30 square feet. I guess I could do the math, but it's a lot more than you think. You probably won't need more than one for basic patch repairs. So now we've seen the tour of what we need to fix. Next, let's talk about the materials to fix them. So these are just Owens Corning shingles. These are asphalt shingles. They are available at any hardware store such as Lowe's and Home Depot. I happen to just get these at Lowe's. This particular pattern that's up on our roof has this staggered effect where they look like they're one on top of each other. And that's just the style of this particular shingle. Some of them are just completely flat. So this bottom area that you see here is the exposed portion that you actually see with your eye when you look at the roof. And this area above this line here, so about a little over 6 inches here, a little over 6 inches here, this is the area that's getting covered by the next course of shingles. And if we flip it over on the back real quick, there's a clear plastic strip there that says do not remove. If you come down towards the bottom where the exposed or bottom end of the shingle, there is this strip of very, very sticky adhesive tar mixture similar to the roof patch that comes in bottles of caulk that we're going to be using, tubes of caulk. Once the sun activates that area there, it gets super sticky. All right, so those are the shingles that you'll need. Match the color as best you can. There's multiple different colors at the hardware store. And then we're going to need some sort of roof specific adhesive. This is called Henry Wet Patch, and it's rubberized, they say. So about 4 days ago, I made a rather large bead of this stuff, and it's fully dried now, and it is still really, really squishy. But the reason it's so pliable like that is over the course of a day, you have a completely cooled off roof at night. Everything underneath it and the shingles, everything has contracted as much as they are susceptible to expansion and contraction. Then as soon as the sun comes up, if you've ever been up on your roof, it gets hot up there, probably a good 20 degrees hotter than you feel down on the ground, at least in my opinion, especially if you're wearing black clothes. The expansion that can occur, expansion and contraction all day, every day. If something is more brittle, that it dries like a glue, very, very hard and brittle, that can easily crack and wear away from that level of expansion and contraction. So I think that's why they make this stuff so pliable that it's not going to crack. Since we're talking with tubes of caulk, you'll need a gun to deliver it with. You can use a hand cranked one. I really enjoy these electric caulking guns. I have one made by Rigid and one by Ryobi here. I did a review video of this guy when I did some work around a kitchen sink. If you want to check that out here, it's a great gun. Some gloves of some sort to protect your hands. These tiles are very easily cut just with a box cutter with a sharp razor blade on it. And you score right down the non-aggregate side, so the back side of it, and it cuts pretty easy, especially once they're warmed up sitting on the roof. And then as you'll see as we go along, this painter's multi-tool is very good for getting underneath the existing shingles and checking to see how much adhesion, if any, there is, and peeling up just a little bit so you can slide the repair piece underneath. It worked really good. All right, so down at the base of this dish, there are 4 lag bolts that have been put in to hold it in place. They also cut away from the asphalt shingles that I'll show you in a second. So we're gonna take this little ratchet here and we're gonna remove these. Nice, coming right out. All right, so that spot there was completely cut out to expose the set of shingles underneath. So this row right here this piece right here needs to be replaced. Now, when it comes time to look for opportunities to fill in the gaps with a new asphalt shingle, I like to use these little multi-tools, these little scraper tools, and I get under the tiles and I look for spots like this right here where there's really no adhesion going on. And that's, number one, not a good thing, but number two, that's an opportunity for us to be able to slide another shingle in. And that will continue with the, the downward shedding of water. First thing I want to do with the 5 protrusions into the plywood from those lag bolts is I want to take our wet patch and just actually squirt it right down into those holes left by the lag bolts. There's 2, oh, that was a good one, 3, 4, 5, very good. Now I'm going underneath the shingles, right across here. All right, I've got a spare piece of shingle right over here that can drip onto. Now I'm sliding underneath the shingles that were cut out for the mount. Yeah, nice, look at that. All right, let's get under there a little bit better. Now, more so for water right now, I'm actually taking precautions for the wind here. It's brutal and it tears up these shingles and folds them over like you saw if they're not adhered very well. So press that down. It is a nice warm day here, so this stuff is extra gooey. There's no need for a roller or really pressing down on it. It's very gooey. Okay. Next, we want to do this spot right here. So I've got a shingle. The shingle goes this way, so we need to figure out where we're going to cut off. So we want to cut right there. I'm going to bring the shingle right to the spot. We're just going to come right down. Like that, and look at that, and that's easy when they're warm like this, easy. Next, let's tackle this antiquated TV antenna here. It is held down at 3 points with steel cables. We're going to cut those off, and then I'm going to cut these wires here leading down through this vent pipe. And then right here at the base, there's a little pivot point. Here's a picture of it. And I think if I loosen those nuts, which are also 7/16, we're having good luck with 7/16 up here today, that I can pivot it towards the front of the house, and that'll allow me to safely bring it down and pull it off of this mount. So let's get started on that. Oh, this is definitely a job for 2 people if you got them. All right, change of plans. We'll make the cuts look pretty a little bit later. Let's get this guy off right here. All right. There we go. All right, let me cut down the rest of this. Get this off the roof. All right, sorry about the bright highlights over here and the shadow here. It's just that time of day. But same thing here. This is that mount where the old TV antenna was. So if you look at the ridge cap here, we can get underneath this, and that's what we're going to do. So let's take this piece and get right under that ridge cap with the help of our tool. Just like that. And then we'll take our wet patch and we'll fill in right under there. All right, I'll put a little bit more patch right in this area here that water can be introduced, but we've taken that whole big spot there and we've created a shed away for it. I would have liked to take this guy out, but I think he goes like this all the way around, and I don't want to tear up all these shingles just for that. So we'll cover up and patch around it. This piece was folded over on itself, and it's partially coming out. It's a mess, so we're gonna cut it back here and then take a fresh piece and cut around this vent. Let's do that. So we'll just come this way and we'll score in a little curve like that. All right. Let's see how that does for us. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. Oh, no problem at all. Good, good, all right, so we're at the very front of the house, and there are 4 holes right here in the roof beyond the actual house. So you can actually see the holes from underneath the eave when you walk underneath this portion right by the garage door, where a basketball court used to be, a little basketball hoop. So 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 hole, 4 hole. This whole area here, which is getting very familiar to us, is completely unadhered. So we're going to take a couple pieces that I have cut, and we're going to slide those up into place and secure them with adhesive. I'm going to leave them just a little over to fill in these 2 holes, because this tile or this shingle here is really secured well. I don't want to rip it up just to slip a little piece in there, so instead we'll fill these holes in with the wet patch, which is what it's made for, and then we will slide those shingles in to cover both of these holes. There we go. Injecting it right into the hole. All right, let's finish where we started. We're ending up at the beginning. So, down here in this corner where the wind has ripped away portions of the shingles, we have a remnant right here underneath that I'm just going to rip away. There's several nails here that we are going to seat, because we're going to be putting pieces over the top of all this. So let's settle down those nails. I'm going to start from the bottom, sliding up as we go. I think we'll be able to get 2 full-size pieces down here, maybe another full-size piece here. I think we have the clearance for it, but we'll see. Oh boy, yeah. There is nothing holding these on. Okay, there's that one. Yeah. Tell you what, when you're getting ready to tackle this project, make sure you buy plenty of this wet patch or whatever kind of roof sealant or adhesive you're going to use. It goes really quick. It's not like when you're caulking and you're using a really thin bead. You know, you're putting this stuff on thick, hoping it'll stand up to the wind. And you go through these small tubes really quick. I wish this stuff came in the big industrial, like construction site sized tubes. That looks so much better. So that'll do it for this video. I feel really good about where we are with patching the roof. We talked about some very common issues you might come up with as a homeowner or DIYer, such as removing old antennas and satellite dishes and then dealing with the holes left behind from the lag bolts. Also the basketball hoop that was on the front of the house had a similar issue, and we took care of those all in slightly different ways. And then there was the full pieces that were missing because of the wind damage, and then that piece that was flapped over and needed to be cut away and replaced. So a lot of variety, but all with that same theme that was my second priority, which was getting up on the roof and fixing any possible points for water intrusion. Now, the third priority is going to be our next video, which is curb appeal. So we are going to start prepping the outside of the house for painting, and then I'm also going to combine it with a review of a paint sprayer that you won't find in your local home store. So if you like this video, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the YouTube algorithm to start suggesting it to more people. Also, I'd love to hear your comments below on anything that you would have liked to see or any ideas for future videos as we go through this rehab process. I'll leave links for most of the things that I talked about here if they're available on Amazon. Full disclosure, these are affiliate links, so if you click on them and end up making a purchase, it doesn't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify the time it takes to make these videos. Regardless of whether or not you click on my links, which I really appreciate, every tool that we talked about and used for this job are all available at any home store as well if you just happen to drive by there. Until next time, thank you for watching.